And now on the line is Roscommon County Council Independent Councillor Tony Ward. Tony, welcome to our programme.
Thanks very much, Darren. Delighted to be on your programme, and good afternoon to all your listeners.
All right, thanks. To start off, Tony, as this is my first interview with you and with a councillor from Roscommon in general, for the benefit of some of our listeners from Dublin today who don't know Roscommon very well, can you tell me how it is that you are a member of the Athlone electoral area, but you are in Roscommon County Council and not in Westmeath County Council?
Well, Darren, that's a very good question, because Roscommon County, we border Westmeath County, and that's why it's called Athlone West MD, because we're close neighbours and we're on the boundary there with Westmeath County Council. So that is good for Roscommon, and we have Athlone Town there. So that's the local town, and for the local people to do their shopping and so forth.
Okay, and you are a former Cllr of Roscommon County Council, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a former mayor and a former Cllr of Roscommon County Council, and we did have an issue a number of years ago there when part of South Roscommon, there was a reference made to the fact that part of South Roscommon would be integrated with Athlone, and I led that campaign again the annexing of any part of South Roscommon into Athlone. So we're happy to be South Roscommon, but we're also happy to be working with our neighbours. Athlone West MD is our MD, and we'll say Athlone, the other Athlone. So we'd be a lot of cooperation between management and councillors of Athlone and Westmeath County Council.
Okay, to move on to the main reason we are doing this interview today, I read an article in last week's Westmeath Independent quoting you, talking about a planned wind farm, or maybe two actually wind farms in South Roscommon. Could you fill our listeners listening in today from Dublin, Tony, for those who don't know, about what this story is?
I will indeed, Darren, and I'm delighted to be able to do so. There was a planning application going back 4 or 5 years ago for 20 wind turbines in South Roscommon, and those wind turbines were in the Dysart, Taughmaconnell area of South Roscommon. And at that stage, at that time, there was a wind turbine action group put together in South Roscommon, and that was a tremendous community group. The wonder case in relation to that application was made to Roscommon County Council, and in turn it was brought to Board Pleanála, and Board Pleanála would have thrown out the planning application on various grounds, but the company went ahead and took their case to the courts, the High Court, and it was thrown out there too. So now the company is back in again looking for 20 wind turbines to be erected. And the big issue there, Darren, for the people of South Roscommon, two things there is the depopulation of the whole area. That will, if those wind turbines are erected, that will happen, and it will have huge consequences for the people of South Roscommon. And you have to remember that those wind turbines are 186 metres high. They will devalue property belonging to people that doesn't have a wind turbine on their land. Their houses will be devalued, and their land will be devalued as well. And there's several reasons, and I know that I'd want probably an hour and a half or 2 hours to explain, but I will say to you and to the listeners today that the wind turbines, where they're going to be erected and located, you have turlocks, and turlocks, you have underground water, and you have that issue in Taughmaconnell and the Dysart area. And recently, here beside me, there's a well-known Turlough clock functioner, and for the last 6 or 7 years, that has caused untold damage to farms and dwelling houses of people that live adjacent to Lough Fuinchina. And I certainly wouldn't like to see the same thing happen to the people in South Roscommon. And if you look at it, Cllr Springs, which is probably one of the best springs in County Roscommon, supplies water to approximately 70 or 80% of the people in South Roscommon. And that has been ongoing for the last 25, 30 years. And if anything was to happen to that spring, it would be cause untold damage to the people, untold damage to South Roscommon in way of having to look and find another water source. So in relation to the lands, that's where you have the Turloughs, is you have a major problem there, because I know from reading up on something in Colorado there, you had a situation where wind turbines, it took 15 years to pay for them. Their life was approximately 18 years, but when I went to dismantling those wind turbines and taking them down, and the blades were plastic, you were back to a situation again where you were going to start opening up landfills and dumps to put those plastic blades in the ground and into a site. And if that has to happen, you're looking at thousands of years for the breakdown of those blades. But you're also, what happened out there was the fact that they just used gelignite to take them down and blow them down. And I'm very, very, very concerned. I have no issue with wind turbines if they're out to sea. I have no issue with green energy. The community group have no issue with green energies, and they certainly have no issue with wind turbines being out to sea. But if you look at the situation for people and families, people in communities like rural communities, that's where I am, and that's where I'm speaking from today, Darren. You're looking at, as I said before, you're looking at depopulation. You're looking at families having a problem getting planning permission. As I speak, it's hard enough. As I speak, you have to have a housing need and so forth. But I know that if the wind turbine company get planning permission, the first people that'll be sending in a submission would be the wind turbine company, because the nearest house now is 600 metres away from a wind turbine. That's the rules and the regulations. I had put a motion before Roscommon County Council back in the 2000 and in the previous plan that it would be at least 1,500 metres from the nearest house those wind turbines would be located, or 10 times the height of the wind turbines, whichever was the greater. So the group will continue their objection and their fight to have those wind turbines, permission refused on behalf of the community, because I think if this happens, will be a sad day for the farming community of South Roscommon and County Roscommon. It will be a sad day for the people that they'll be faced with a lot more issues. There will be, as I said, in relation to their own sons, daughters, grandchildren going forward into the future to try and get planning permission if they want to set up and build a family home there.
Okay, you gave me a lot of information there. Okay, I interviewed Patricia Sharkey from the Guibara Donegal Conservation Group a couple of weeks ago on Near FM, and she told me that she and the group really questioned the rationale in bringing in wind farms into Ireland, and she told me that if the government or Department of Communications weren't giving subsidies to the wind farm companies, that they would not make planning applications in Ireland. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Darren. And furthermore, I would state categorically today that the wind turbines are, as we speak, are obsolete. You know, they're obsolete because, as I stated at the very outset, it takes approximately 15 years to pay for them. The life of them in Colorado was only 15 or 18 years. So I would see them as, I would see
obsolete
wind turbines going forward into the future as obsolete. No need for wind turbines. You know, people are getting, you know, when you pay your ESB bill, X percentage is going towards the cost of someone that wants to they're going towards the cost of grant aid for someone that wants to erect wind turbines. But wind turbines on their own, they're still taking fossil fuels to, you know, the wind turbine. You have to take it from A to B and you have to bring it in to a power substation, and you have to have electricity to run it and supply it, you know.
Okay, Tony, where do your colleagues in Roscommon County Council and maybe Westmeath County Council and the local TDs stand on this issue?
Well, that's a good question. I myself would like to know exactly where they do stand. You know, all I can do is what I think is the right thing for the people. I stand with the people of South Roscommon and will continue to do that. I've done that in the past, and I certainly make no apologies, Darren, for doing that, to continue to do that in the future, because I'm genuinely concerned that if the plans that's in place that will absolutely destroy South Roscommon, will destroy County Roscommon, will depopulate the whole area. We have 64,000 people in our county, and we have the oldest people in any county lives and resides in County Roscommon. So I would see it as a sad day for South Roscommon and County Roscommon if planning permission was granted for this proposed 20 wind turbines. And as I stated at the outset, they're 186 metres high. And when you have to go down and put in a foundation for those wind turbines, you could be going 40, 50 or 60, metres down. And the amount of damage, and anyone that knows anything about how turlets operate, I would be of the opinion, from my experience dealing with turlets, and I spoke about Cllr, where I was born and reared, and that turlet, what happened there is that where you had 600 acres of a lot, you now have 1,300 acres of a lot. And that had been rising and rising over the last 5 or 6 years. And a decision was made recently by Roscommon County Council and the OPW to put in an overflow pipe. It was a motion I put before Roscommon County Council back in 2016, and now they're proceeding to put in this overflow pipe to take the overflow of the water and to stop people, their farms being flooded, their family homes being flooded, and their farm payments being cut. And I certainly don't want to be dealing with a similar situation in Depopulation or Dysart. I think the people should be respected, and they have a right to have, that they can use their own lands, have their family applying for planning permission on their own lands. And the one thing the majority of people here don't want is wind turbines 186 metres high. So the voluntary group, and I want to, to say to those people, an exceptional group of people, volunteers, have come together, and they're going to fight this planning application. They're going to fight it all the way.
This is the South Roscommon Wind Turbine Action Group, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah, they're on Facebook. They have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony. Come towards we won't keep much longer. We'll come towards the end of the interview. There's a board Planada are going to make their decision in a month or two, aren't they?
Yeah, board Planada. Yeah, it's going into board Planada there, and they will make the decision. And I know that speaking to the group, they'll be putting in their. They'll be putting in the information, and they'll be fighting that, and they'll be putting in the information in relation to outlining the reasons that this shouldn't be granted planning permission.
Based on the experience with other communities around the country and on Bord Pleanála, do you think you can be in any way hopeful that the company won't?
Well, I do, and I tell you, the last time this case was up, I was very hopeful, because actually government bodies and parties got in behind the community group to support them, and I can see the same thing happen again. To be fair, you know, I would be very hopeful. But I can tell you one thing, I would be extremely disappointed if planning permission was granted. But as I said, we'll have to fight this all the way, and I'm supporting the group. And I hope that common sense will prevail, and that this application will be refused, and that we won't see an application like that being back on the table again after a few years. That shouldn't be happening. You know, people living in rural Ireland shouldn't be browbeaten into accepting or allowing a decision to be made that is not in their interest, and it's very much not in their interest, because their land will be devalued, their family homes will be devalued, and in a short few years you'll have huge depopulation. And I'm all for people living in their own area, getting work in their own area, living in their villages. And this is what makes communities, football teams and sports teams and different people, community activity within the whole area. Not to have a situation where you drive through it and you don't see anyone. You know?